Okay, let's try that again. So, bang, there I am. Michael Califf from the author of A Very Broken System. As I promised, I would come through with a little background. I think it's there this time. On you could no allegedly, none of that. I'll just explain. So, on the Melbourne Drug Court, under the warranted watchful eye of Magistrate Pappas, who any investigative journalist could FOI anything I say here, who has a brother, right? So in that, and you got to put this in perspective, for none of this, even though my addiction led to homelessness and incarceration, none of this, not even remotely, was to do with my criminality. My criminality, for the most part, was certainly non-violent and all revolved around my homelessness for the most part, and obviously, and my addiction. And there was certainly no violence, no, attacking people, none of that at all. This was all to do with what happened was I got involved I was asked to be a witness in both IBAC and criminal matter against the most mismanagedly, horridly run prison, the GEO Ravenhall. What happened was they employed, I kid you not, somehow a ex-commercial chef ended up not as a prison officer, ended up as a unit supervisor in the most messy of messy. Anybody who knows anything about prisons knows remand, that where is carnage. There's more anyhow. Somehow the bright sparks thought to employ a ex-commercial chef as a unit supervisor. Well, this bloke got himself in trouble, and somehow me, from a position of homelessness and heroin addiction, just trying my level best, dealing with the even if they were self-inflicted, dealing the best I have with a bad situation. And I end up getting asked to testify in both criminal and IBAC matter against this, which turned into a decade plus long campaign of some very disturbing things, which some of you will know about. But anyway, so let's just stick to this one at the moment. So it's certainly not about criminality. It's not about my bikie connection or anything. Any mainstream media who wanted to put the same effort that they do on the Mick Gattos of Victoria, put it into the corrupt figures in the government. They're the ones who cause it. Mick Gatto, even let's just say this, if Mick Gatto was everything that they say he is, he wouldn't be there unless those in government let him be there. That's a given, right? So anyhow, now let's get to this story. So I was on the Melbourne Drug Court order, and the Melbourne drug, and among other things, the weaponized misuse of AI bot tech combined with facial recognition. You've got to put that in perspective too, as well. You've got to remember these people have been trying to drive me insane while locked in a prison cell, trying to have me stabbed, bashed by some of the most dangerous people in Victoria. And then when that didn't work, tried to literally lose my sanity, take my sanity with the weaponized misuse of AI chatbot technology in a bloody prison. Do you know how bad that is a breach? But we won't go down there. Let's just stick to this for now. So I get out and this continues. So I don't know why it happened. All I know is when I'm turning up to the Melbourne Drug Court, so into the magistrates' courts, I'm walking past dog, and all this harassment tactics clearly set up by the system. So my point there is I'd be in first, write my name, and get out every week. I had to turn up every week, and I was still at this stage, towards the end of 23, about November, December 23, I was still sort of resisting. Believe me, if I didn't have the strong enough backbone, I would have clearly been one of the people you see barreling down the Burke Street Mall, or even closer to home, lashing out the participant, the well-known violent offender, who was at the stage where he was trying to turn his life around, happened to be on the Melbourne Drug Court order as well, having his head done in as well. Well, he didn't handle it as gracefully as me, and he ended up lashing out violently and stabbing an innocent member of the public. So that's where I was at. Luckily, I don't have that in me, and I could handle it gracefully. And I also knew I just had enough knowledge to know what's happening to me. Anyhow, in fact, it allowed me to document it. So this time when they wouldn't go away and I saw how dodgy things were, I thought, right, I'm going to really document it, and hence the book, A Very Broken System. But in that, so I'm still sort of wrestling with them at this stage and going through phones. I'm, like literally doing it hard, struggling to live, just wanting a job and a roof over my head, basically. And I'm dealing with this from the same people that are meant to be helping people turn their lives around. It was the most toxic, disgusting thing. And you can FOI any of this and it'll verify everything from Magistrate Papist's boasts of her having a brother. Anyhow, her brother happens to be, this is how deep and disgusting it was. She's also got a connection to the mainstream media by the look of it. So anyhow, but you'd have to ask her that, I wouldn't know these things. Anyhow, but what I do know is a fact. So I turn up to Melbourne Drug Court this day, probably around November 23-ish, thereabouts, and I write my name down first. If it wasn't first, it was second, definitely right at the top. But what happens? They make me wait and make me wait and make me wait. Another person jumps in front of me. And I just thought, honestly, the amount of times I had little petty-minded nonsense over the decade, I kid you not, you would be amazed at how petty and bitter the likes of Corrections Victoria can be. If you dare challenge them, it's just ridiculous. It's farcical, and it's on your money. It's on public money. But anyway, so I'm thinking, here we go, just another game, whatever. So I grin and bear it, let them go. Now it's my turn. The AI chatbot tech that has been getting used, and basically has been getting drowned out up until this stage too by the other participants, is now probably arguably turned up a notch, possibly not even, possibly just what they did was just let it go silent. Arguably a minute, I don't know, but a minute of an uncomfortable silence is bad enough, let alone a minute of having your genitalia abused, get called every name under the sun, having all manner of disgusting things said about your private, just yuck, just literally the most disgusting, abhorrent things I've ever been exposed to. And don't forget, I was homeless, heroin addicted, and in and out of some of the most dangerous jails in Australia. And the worst people by a long way I ever came close to the misfortune of having in my life was while in that 10 years, but certainly while under the Melbourne Drug Court banner. Anyway, literally, it was like a weaponized sex offence. But we won't go down that path. We'll just stick to this. So what happens is, just in case anybody wants to doubt it, or perhaps, who knows, maybe a mainstream media, investigative journalist will take the binoculars off Mick Gatto, who wouldn't be, even if, as I've said before, just said then, if Mick Gatto was this big bad person that they pretend he is, or they claim he is, he wouldn't be there if the politicians didn't let it happen now, would he? But anyway, so in that, I'm made to wait to the end. And the same AI bot tech is now very audible. I don't know if they can hear it. You'd have to ask them. That's part of the head doing this. It's very hard to tell. Is anybody else hearing it? All I know is the entire drug court team were all just grinning, grinning at my discomfort, from the court clerk to the prosecutor to the clinical advisor to the legal aid representative, and certainly to the magistrate. We were sort of having a little chuckle thinking, and I can only assume, looking back at this situation, that it was done in a you got nowhere to turn. I don't know. But anyhow, you'd have to ask them. But when I reported it to IBAC, I didn't even get the decency for them to speak to me and say, right, can you give me a bit better details? I didn't even get that. So anyhow, we'll start with the ABC, which I think is there actually. So this occurred about 3 to 4 weeks after this event happened. So I'm not saying they knew the hacker. All I'm saying is this happened to me. I was exposed to this AI chatbot technology, and when I told them how disgusting the people they are for doing this, don't forget there was malice in this. This was no messing with me. Otherwise, they would not have tried to cover it, right? So within 3 weeks of that event, we got these stories happening. Victoria's courts are being hacked. I think, a suspected Russian ransomware. Yeah, gee. Got to watch those socialist communists, don't you? You know, a year and a half later, we've got the same people at the top of our government standing alongside the Russians. Anyhow, let's not deviate. Let's just stick to showing you guys the facts. So in case you doubt the ABC, the same time frame, same event. There you go. The 2nd of January. We get this story. Victoria's court system has been hit by a cyber attack, with hackers accessing several weeks of recording hearings. Videos and audio recordings have been, video and audio recordings of some hearings in the Supreme County Magistrates and Coroners Courts were accessed over the 7-week period. So that from there, go back 7 weeks. This is how, you see, this is what their arrogance documents their dodginess. Because have a look, here you go. So it's reported as, I didn't know this part, oh shizzle. Court Services Victoria, which runs the Melbourne Drug Court, was first made aware of the attack on the 21st of December, but it is believed the audio-visual technology network was compromised on the 1st of November. Well, it happened to me somewhere in November. So my point is, if you document 7 weeks back, you'll get your event. It's right there. What a coincidence, right? So they can't even go, oh, it happened after. None of that, mate, because this is smack bang in the middle of that 7 weeks, I'm saying. Anyhow, so even their favourite, one that they've certainly got contacts in, is Channel 9 News reporting it too. Victoria's court system has confirmed that it suffered a cyber attack, with bosses admitting it could be unsettling and distressing for those affected. I'll just let you guys chew on that, but stay tuned, guys, because what I was exposed to, like, this is way worse than I am and just messing with a petty criminal. This is sickening. This is corruption covering of the highest magnitude. And then you throw into this little doozy, throw this little chestnut in there, Charlie. So throw into the fact that when I reported it to IBAC, I didn't even so much as get contacted. Just a bike boy scandal, and they got called off. Seriously? Seriously? Now, again, you guys will hear me say this a lot. If we were doing okay, if we were doing all right, we didn't have 12-year-olds killing each other, didn't have drugs through the roof, we didn't have alleged organised crime riddled in our big building projects and whatnot, we weren't blowing out, our politicians weren't having to sell us out to China because they're that mismanaged and incompetent. And I could go on and on and on. If we didn't have, oh, hang on, that dear 90-year-old left to bleed to death because ambulance victim, don't dare misconstrue this for having a go at the bravest of the brave frontline ambos. No chance. This is in those higher officers, the same higher officers who this type of story was protecting. That 90-year-old who rang, he rang 000, hello, 000, 3 times. I'm bleeding to death. Hello, please. I'm a 90-year-old man. I've been a good, hardworking man for my life. My wife passed away. I'm just living out here quietly and I'm bleeding to death. 3 times. 3 times. And I'm well aware of these type of stories. And now so are you. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great one. Now let me try and stop this thing.